Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. One of the stories in the Bible I don't think we pay enough attention to is the story of Jacob's ladder. Let me remind you of the situation. Early on in his life, Jacob was a scoundrel, and when this story picks up, he has cheated his twin brother Esau out of his inheritance and their father's blessing. As you might expect, Esau is furious and vows to kill Jacob, and so Jacob flees back to their relatives back east. The first night on the run, exhausted, he lies down out in the open using a rock for his pillow, and that's when he has a dream. In the dream, he envisions a ladder reaching from earth to heaven, and he sees a steady stream of angels constantly going up and down the ladder as they are busy going about God's work in the world. Then suddenly, God is standing beside him, and God blesses Jacob and says that God will always be with him. When Jacob wakes from the dream, he marks the place to remember where it happened and all of God's promises. But here's the thing. I have always appreciated in this story that God doesn't appear at the top of the ladder, but rather right there beside Jacob. What a powerful image for us, especially in our times of distress. When we need God, God is not removed or far away. God is there beside us. God is always with us. That's a powerful image. But I think it's also a powerful image to think about those angels going up and down that ladder and scurrying in all directions to go about the business of God in the world. I think we should be comforted that God is so involved, that God is so active in tending to our world, in tending to us and to our needs. That's just one of the many times that angels are mentioned in the Old Testament. This week we are talking about angels and what we can know about them, and today our focus is on what we find about angels in the Old Testament. We might begin by asking about the origin of angels. How did angels come to be? Well, interestingly, the origin of angels is never described in the Bible in any detail, and it's inferred by one small reference in the stories of creation in Genesis. Genesis 1:1, and the whole Bible actually begins in the beginning when God created the heavens and the earth. God created the heavens and the earth. Maybe we've never thought about that before and always presumed that heaven was already there. But the Bible tells us clearly that heaven, like earth, was created by God. And just as God populated the earth with people, so God populated heaven with angels and heavenly hosts. In the Old Testament, angels seem mostly portrayed as attendants of God's court. Their role is to worship God first and foremost, and then to convey God's divine will to earth. That's why they are often pictured in our minds as having wings, to facilitate their coming and going from God's throne room to earth. Which brings up another interesting point. While we picture angels with wings, the Bible never describes them that way. And in fact, in the story of Jacob we talked about a moment ago, they come and go from heaven by using a ladder. Angel wings are a product of our imagining how God's word might be carried into our world. The word angel comes into our language from the Greek word angelos, which is a word meaning messenger. And there are examples all over the Bible of angels bringing a message of God to people. Some examples might be the angel stopping Abraham's sacrifice of Isaac, or Gabriel telling Mary that she would bear Jesus, or the angels singing to the shepherds when Jesus was born. However, the Israelites had other words for angels too. Angels were understood as and called servants, ministers, holy ones set apart, and even watchers. How many times might someone have done just the right thing for us at just the right time, and we called them an angel? Well, that's exactly what real angels really do. The Israelites understood angels to usually be invisible, unapproachable, and unaffected by human needs like hunger or cold. The Old Testament talks mainly about two different types of angels, the cherubim and the seraphim, and we will talk about those on Thursday this week. One other class of angels in the Old Testament might be called the warrior angels. Angels were seen as fearless fighters in the army of God, battling against evildoers and safeguarding the righteous. The angel leading God's army is named Michael, and we will talk more about him on Friday. It's a powerful image that Jacob saw of those angels going up and down the ladder to heaven. God's angels are with us, coming down to do God's work and going back up in order to be sent down to do even more. Perhaps we have the same job. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.